G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer. It's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the microphone with my two idiot mates, so let's welcome in Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
VP.
I've been doing something really strange for the last 4 days.
Going sailing?
I went sailing. I couldn't go to Hobart because I'm a bit busy with things going on, but there was a regatta, and we'll talk a bit later on. But I went sailing on a white boat, around sort of up and down, and then a little bit of a rest, then up and down, another rest. Did that for 3 or 4 days and had a great time.
Oh, we're going to have some fun with that one. Let's bring in the other bloke.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
G'day, gents. First ep for 2022. Just one apologies to the listeners. We missed last week. We just couldn't get things aligned between all of us and travelling around and the Rona just biting us in the arse everywhere that we went. But what better way to kick it off, though, than with the guest that we've got this week? He knows the rules of the show. He knows how things play. But in the meantime, back in made it back to Adelaide, got out of a lockdown, managed to spend a couple of days due to the way things were set up with the isolation times in Sydney. The wife isn't listening to this, but I was there for a few extra days and just couldn't get back into SA on time. But it is what it is. And here we are, ready to roll.
Indeed.
For another big year of Barkarati foolishness.
I will say, taking the week off, the first ever week we've taken off, boy, did we get some emails from people.
I was about to bring it up and you jumped on it, so well done. Yeah, we have taken a week off, so all you listeners out there, give us a break, will you? Christ.
No, there's some such nice emails. Like, some people really passionately love the show, so we're very grateful for that. Like, it was pretty interesting. I said to my wife the other day, I was looking at it and I said, geez, I might take a few more weeks off. This is good.
More compliments than I ever get. Well, I can tell you there's a few people that routines are out the window because if they're in Europe, their Sunday mornings are just gone. They've got their, breakfast on the table, and a couple of them said, I went to upload the session, it wasn't there. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I think it's just right. Absence makes the heart grow stronger.
Yeah, nice one, Bice. It's good on you. That's where we're at. You're right.
I'm becoming a bit philosophical during my time.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back.
Right.
With a vengeance.
And to kick it off, we, of course, had to bring in one of our favourites. Obviously, this episode will just do a little bit of a recap of the Sydney to Hobart. We obviously did a whole bunch of live shows, which people just seemed to love, which was great. Had a lot of comments on that one. So when we thought about it, we thought, well, how do we handle this? And the first person that popped into mind and immediately said yes is the skipper of Blackjack, the king of North Sails in Australia, Mr. Mark Bradford. Squark, welcome back to the show.
G'day, lads. Thanks for having me. And hello, listeners. It's great to be back.
It's your annual conversation with Barkarati, it seems.
Hey, lads, am I right in thinking this is number 3 and he is the first
person ever?
But normally I'm promising a great victory. This time we're going to talk about one, so it's a little bit different. I've been promising for about 20 years, I think.
Well, we'll talk about that in a sec. So well done on becoming...
Let's talk about it now.
Oh, all right then.
Mate,
that's not in the script.
The great victory. Mate, you must be pretty chuffed. You and the boys, you've been together a long time. We said it during the live shows. You've been hitting it hard. Peter's been supporting the whole program for a very long time and finally get the bullet you've all been chasing.
Yeah, look, unashamedly, we're pretty stoked. I'd love to talk it down and be humble, but yeah, look, a shitload of work's gone into it, and a lot of sacrifice from a lot of people, particularly Pete. And the last couple of years have been pretty shaky too, and big questions about whether we keep going and how we keep going and stuff like that. So to get the win and to do it in the way we did it, I thought was, pretty clinical, and we didn't really leave a lot of time on the track. So we're super proud of the effort.
we've been spreading a few rumours too about the future, so we'll come back to that. But they're good rumours. Good rumours. The interesting thing, I reckon, let's just sort of get into the build-up, because the last time I saw the Blackjack on the water, you were throwing the mast over the front in the Brisbane to Gladstone. What's happened since that date? Like, has it been a lot of prep, or is it just stick in a new stick and see what happens?
Oh, look, there's a bit more depth to the stupidity than that. I mean, we sent the boat, did a really big push for the Hobart 2 or 3 years ago. I can't even remember now. The last time the 500s were together, rebuilt the boat, modelled it, all that sort of carry on, trained a lot, and came last out of the hundreds, and that sort of shattered us a bit. Anyway, sent the boat to Europe, coronavirus kicked in, bought the boat back from Europe, got ready for last year's Hobart. That got canned. What was that, 10 days to go? It got canned last year.
Yeah.
So then thought, we'll just store the boat in Brisbane while we figure out what we're doing. Better do the Brisbane to Gladstone. We were 3 hours ahead of our record with 3 hours to go, and the mast fell over the side, which I don't know who's had that experience in their life, but dropping 44 metres at midnight is not a lot of fun in 30 knots. And then so from there we ordered a rig. While the rig was getting built, Southern Spars New Zealand got shut down due to COVID and their local lockdown laws, so that just delayed us even further. Then we got the rig in the boat and started to ramp up for the Australian Maxi Championships, and we had a COVID outbreak on board. So that was the end of that one. So we missed the Maxi Nationals, which is a great shame, because I think that event's going to sort of weave its way into the fabric of sailing in this country from now on. It was such a success. And then so then we come back for like a 2-day training, last-minute block just the week before the race, and another key member of the crew got COVID, so he was out like really late in the piece. So, yeah, just to get on the start line was pretty amazing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. The yin and the yang were just going hard.
Hang on. I got a good question, boss. Was the key guy that got COVID just a couple of days short the guy responsible for keeping the engine running just on that start? You know?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But he does do a lot of work downstairs. So, geez, wasn't that a beauty?
Yeah.
Oh, we loved it. We loved it.
It's all good from that moment.
Coming in hot, $2 part. So it's got an electronic throttle control, and when you press any button, it revs the engine to produce the power to the manifold to push the oil around the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to decant the keel, and Whitty's turned 90 degrees in front of us. We're doing about 20. And Clarkie's trying to furl it. There was a full frenzy, and the engine just conked out. So then the next hurdle with the spectator boats, we had to survive through that.
Wow.
But, yeah, I mean, we wanted to make a show of it. Really.
Yeah.
Well, it was entertaining. Let's just put it that way.
Not where I was sitting.
No.
But
well, at least you didn't swear your head off like some people.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Squark, it understandable, like a fairly logical explanation how everything went wrong. But what you seemed to do was you seemed to sort of send like a shockwave through the fleet, and everyone decided to muck up at that bottom mark. You know, there was just a mess watching that. You didn't see it. I doubt you've gone back and watched the start, but it was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad example of sailing all round coming into that mark.
Yeah, well, thankfully we can blame equipment, not management, although I suppose that does fall under our. But I have heard a few of the stories, and I can tell you if our boat was mic'd, you'd be surprised how quiet it was. We go about it and get on with it. Yeah, I mean, yelling doesn't really help at that point.
You just blame Silas, don't you?
Our Silas was underwater, I think. Not many people could hear what he had to say.
Did you say sorry, Silas, like you'd normally say to John?
Well, maybe it was John's fault. We're in that position for not being there.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
We got there in the end, didn't we?
Yeah. Sorry, John.
All right. Okay. So you're going into this Hobart. You've had many years. I think it's probably 11 years or 10 years, really sort of campaigning for the Hobart fairly seriously. You've got a great owner, Pete Harburg, who sort of puts in a lot. Throwing a new mast into the boat would have been nice on the wallet. And then going into this, did you feel any pressure? You were starting to question how much longer this program was going to last, or any of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, look, the pressure question's good, and no one puts more pressure on us than ourselves. I mean, because we're a professional sailing team, and you can't hide from what we're trying to do, and that's win. So, and when you keep coming up short time and time again, yeah, the pressure mounts, but it's more on us than what other people put on us. I mean, there's plenty of people that are critical, and there's plenty of supporters, but at the end of the day, if you don't have high standards for yourself and put pressure on yourself, where's the point? What are you doing? Sort of thing. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, there's an immense amount of pressure there, but that's homegrown.
So when we were chatting to Silas, who tried his best to pretend he was sober when we were chatting to him on the live cross, he said, you guys pretty quickly got to the lead after that sort of mark rounding. Obviously, the Scallywag guys sort of blew out their jib fitting, and then you guys cruised past. He said, though, from a strategic perspective, your whole strategy for the race sort of went out the window pretty early on, and you just started playing shifts. Is that right, or is that just Frontierland miscommunicating?
Yeah, look, that's not accurate at all, unfortunately. Look, for sure, when we left the heads, the plan was just to, get the thing in phase and push offshore. I mean, there's a bit more set out there. And, thanks to Finding Nemo, everyone understands what the EAC is about. And so everyone sort of wants to push offshore. We did a lot of research leading up to the race. I mean, we had Alex Nolan navigating, Kevin Costin, who, is kind of a local sailor. He sailed with Pride, ran Pridey's program for a long time. And we all grew up sailing under Cos, and he whipped us during the night. So that's sort of where we learned our craft. And when we kept falling short, I figured we better get the master flogger back to flog us through the night. And so Cos and Alex with Juan Villa, Bruce Buckley and Clouds and Adam Beachell did a shit. And I know it sounds like I'm names dropping, but my point is that's the level of effort that we put in. Wow. And we kind of had a really strong strategy and we stuck to it. We had a couple of things had to play out in the beginning, and they started to become obvious. So then we fanged inshore for that shift off Eden, which we kind of knew was going to be there.
Which was a point that we brought up. It was very visually apparent from our lounge room that you were the innermost boat. And I had spoken during the week to Nitro actually, and he said that they were far left on Chiban, and the conditions out there were relatively atrocious compared to the. Was it a bit better inshore because the current would have been maybe a little bit less, or was it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the temptation to go offshore is to get 2 knots for free.
Yes.
But then in these boats in 20 plus, you start slowing them down. So you pretty quickly it becomes neutral, the credit you get. So, but for us, our strategy, firstly, there's the wind shift that we knew was there. So we wanted to be to leeward and ahead heading into that shift. But protecting the asset is like a huge part of this deal. I mean, we saw it the first night, half the boats broke. And so, we had 2 things in mind. The first night we wanted to stop the bleeding. And so we were expecting Law Connect to be something in the vicinity of 10 mile ahead of us. And we were going to be comfortable with that. And I guess you just got to weigh up whether sailing in flat water and getting through the night is worth, it was just worth it for us. I mean, wow. in hindsight, it was the right call.
It definitely paid off. I mean, we watched it closely. So,
did you when you were at your furthest offshore, how heinous was it? Was it really bad, or just bad with the size of boat that you're on?
Oh, look, anyone that was on my boat, and I'm not sure how many people listen to this podcast. They just be pissing themselves laughing at me now because I went down about 8 o'clock and came up about 8 o'clock the next night. So,
I did have a word to GT last night about it.
Yeah, it was pretty much my whole intestines made it out of my mouth. it provided great humour to the rest of the boys because where you chunder on the boat, you sort of stick your head out the back hatch, and they're all sitting on the raft. So there's a chorus of cheers and all that sort of good stuff, which just adds to the drama of it. Look, it was rough, but it wasn't out of control, but it was rough.
I mean, this touches on that point. I mean, you know that you are seasick. You know that you get seasick, and I actually sent you a message in the morning of the race, and I said to you, "You've got this one. This is your race." Blah blah blah. You come back to me with a smile and a spew. So you knew it was coming, right?
Yeah. Look, it's a funny thing. You know, we all cut our teeth in. Well, a lot of us cut our teeth in sailing Olympic classes. But to earn a living, you've got to go offshore. So it's just as you get older, it's a part of the gig. And I'm all right if we went downwind for the first day and I could sort of get my sea legs, I'd be okay. But to go straight into it like that, there's no other word but shit house.
We described the race sort of about 3 days in. We started calling it a working person's race. You know, the fluoro high vis
had
outfit.
the high vis on.
Yeah, the high vis, the steel cap
boots.
Yeah, it was that sort of working person's race.
That's about right. I was the person with the lollipop sign saying "Stop, go."
What about from your perspective in your professional role, non-sailing professional role, which is a sailmaker with North Sails? Was there any sort of, I know the mast went in, new mast, but was there any other development that went on from your end at all that you want to reveal, or is there secret stuff?
Oh, no, look, what we've been working towards, and we're not the only sailing team doing it, but everyone's working towards reducing the number of sails on board. I'm not promoting reducing the purchase of a huge number of sails. I think it's important you buy a lot of sails, but I've still got one kid in private school, you see, so.
Okay.
But what you try and do is you create sails that just have wider wind ranges. And what we're learning, is just the way we put the structures in the sails now and load the yarns up. We can change the shape of the sails dramatically, so we're getting way bigger ranges out of them.
Right.
So we've been working on this the family of sails in our organisation is called Helix, structured luff. I mean, it goes a long way back. We've been putting yarns in sails to make sails twist more or the middle each to stand up more for years, but it's come right to the forefront now. So when we got to do a new mast and think about all this sail stuff at the same time, we had a really good chance with a clean sheet. And I think that's made a pretty big difference, to be honest.
Was the geometry of the mast much different to the original?
No, the boats don't need, or that thing doesn't need any more power. Like we're reefing in 12.
Yeah.
So, it's the same geometry. And when we dropped our rig, we only had our second string sails on in the air. So all of our new sails were there, which is sort of current thinking. And then we did a couple of funky, low aspect reaching sails. The Frojo is sort of a fractional J0, which is like a jib that goes to the end of the bowsprit to the fractional hoist, but it goes on the reaching strut, so you blast reach with it and triple head.
Yep.
And then upwind and light air, you can go on the wind with it. So it fills a huge gap.
Right.
I'll have to talk to you about that later.
Do you shoot it further inboard upwind, or is it still out on the ridge? Yeah.
The clue lands where the clue of all the jibs land.
Yeah.
That's why the code's a J, because it's J for jib.
Yeah.
And so a J1 is on your head stay and a J0 is on the bowsprit, and a fractional version is just that.
Yeah, so the old triple-headed thing, it's working on your boat, I take it?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, it's funny, like these boats were designed in 2005 and we've sped them up mostly through what we're doing in the air, and we're just making flatter sails and putting a lot of little sails up rather than one big sail.
Love it.
It's good fun, isn't it? Just keep putting more and more sails up. I was on a boat a few weeks ago and one of the guys kept going, what else have we got down there? Let's just keep putting some more sails up.
Exactly right. The blooper will be back before we know it.
SNS 34s, mate.
The SNS 34, White Bay is 06.
There you go.
They put some footage up going across Bass Strait with the blooper up.
No, really?
Yeah.
How good?
Not sure how that rates on IRC, but they were looking pretty good.
It was cool.
They were looking good.
That is cool.
So with the sort of during the race, lead up to the race, was there much intensity between the teams? I know you had the three maxis or 300s, let's call them 300s. Was there any intensity between the teams at all? Were you pretty determined to beat any of them? It was all waffle. You didn't care.
Or were you pissed off Rico wasn't there to take the piss out of him? The tone's a bit bigger.
Oh, mate, it would have been good if the Prince was there for sure. I mean, we've got a huge amount of respect for the Wild Oats guys, and we've raced them head to head over the years a lot, and we've had our fair share of success there. No, this group, I think, because probably the three boats that were there have all spent a bit of their career just being a part of it and not getting on the top step. So I think we were all just respecting each other's efforts, and we knew what it meant to everyone, so everyone kept out of each other's way. Okay. I think Law Connect just steal the limelight on the media because that's sort of what they're...
With the J24 bolted to the front of it?
Yeah, well, that's right. But that's sort of what their project's about. It's a sponsorship-driven thing, and that's cool. And Woody has been really unfortunate, and he couldn't really get into Australia to do a lot of preparation and stuff like that. So
he's the Djokovic of the sailing world.
Yeah, well, but I tell you what, has he got some wheels? Like when he gets that thing sorted out, that thing's quick. That's probably quick. Yeah.
One of the things that was interesting, Squark, is on the tracker. I think Law Connect, it wasn't showing instruments and data. And so at some stage it was 20 miles behind you, then another stage it's 300 metres away from you off the coast of Tassie, and, it was bouncing all over on the tracker, and we weren't really quite sure where it was. Did you actually see any of these guys at all? Like, were there any time they were close to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, it got confusing sort of, the end of the first night, and I'll say Green Cape just because that's something that everyone understands, but it got confusing around there with just where we thought we were in relation to them and the timing of the Green Cape skeds and those sorts of things that went on. And the HF really wasn't working very well, I don't think, for anyone. I mean, if it wasn't for Schutzbar, those guys, they should have got some sort of safety at sea prize there because they did the heavy lifting.
I heard this story, and there was a bit of a joke going around that they should have gone for a redress.
Well,
would have got at least a couple of minutes.
We'll touch on that later, but
bring it up. Let's go.
Yeah, look, those guys. I mean, they're not in a big boat. It's a handful to get on the radio on those little boats. They were relaying
everyone
a lot of the skeds. I mean, it was pretty impressive. I was lying in my bunk being sick, so I got to listen to it. But I don't know. It's a hard way to communicate, isn't it, that HF thing? To answer your question, we kind of thought once we got the righty off Eden, we thought we're in front of them. We didn't really get it confirmed till the skeds rolled around. Then some of that information didn't really stack up for us. But then the whole down the Tassie coast, we'd lead, we'd hit a light spot, they'd come into us and get to within a couple of times. They got to within sort of 3 miles. And, they were nervous times. And then the last light spot, we just got out the other side of it and buggered off. So we're pretty lucky.
You got to have faith in the rubber band effect, mate.
Well, that's exactly what was going on. But I tell you what, when it gets down to a couple of miles, it does get pretty ropey.
There's only one place that rubber band is, mate, and you don't need to know where that is.
Yeah, exactly right.
Around the Conyers.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right. Well,
so I'm interested. We have to touch on. I'll just raise it as a question. You can throw it away and ignore it if you want. It's just everyone having a call in on HF. Is that outdated, or should we move on from that?
Oh, look. To be honest, the way that I run my team is I put experts in each area. I know a little bit about each area. I'm not, apart from the sales and the rig, I'm not really across the whole thing. I mean, I can explain why the engine conks out, but I don't know the exact mechanism.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, mate.
Stuff like that. So when it comes to technical questions about communication with navigation, I'm really not not saying I'm naive to it, but I'm probably not an expert in why HF drops in and out like it does.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Like, I'm on boats just to accept the prizes. That's what my expertise is. So make the after.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to try and shortcut you before we went HF, AIS. We'd hate to go back there, wouldn't we?
All right, so let's get into you guys when you're going up the Derwent. It was a rocket ship ride up the Derwent for you. Probably what were you doing? 6 knots in 3 knots or something?
Yeah, we do about 10 in 3 or 4. Yeah, right. Something like that. Jeez. There's a couple of little slowdowns that got down to 1 knot of boat speed, and then we just start thinking, oh no, like I think
come
5 years ago there was Giacomo, Bojest. We were in the 70. I'm not sure who else it was. There was another boat there. 4 of us were off the casino for about 5 hours under anchor. So, we've had this feeling before.
Yep.
But B-Show strung it together beautifully up there, and we just sort of banged from the easterly into the westerly, and we never really stopped. Going up the Derwent 2 a.m.'s not
the best time.
No.
We touch on that quite regularly, that 8 o'clock's the cut-off.
Yeah,
in the evening time. So we were watching boats that were looking good for that timing, and we were watching boats that were going to really struggle. So we generally picked it pretty well. But that was good of you guys to get up there well. So well done there.
How was the fever coming up the Derwent? Obviously, you know what position you're in, how much buffer you got, but there's no. We spoke about it until you actually go across the line. You're still wondering, right?
Oh, yeah, look, tongue-in-cheek, I've said in the media we knew we were going to win from when we started. But, that race, you just got to hear the finish gun. There's absolutely no substitute for it. And anyone that's ever done it would understand that. We've seen some heart-shattering moments in the Derwent. And, you sort of just hold your breath from the minute you go past it, or even when you're getting to John Garrow in particular, when you're right up to Derwent, you just can't even. Yeah. I mean, you don't dare to think.
So when you got there, you got the gun. Lucky you didn't have a misfire. Can you imagine? How funny would that be? Where's the gun? What about Pete?
Well, funny you say that. Yeah. So when they do the cannon, there's a little hooter on the thing goes off, and then the finish mark goes past you, and it's a proper cannon. So they've kind of got to give a nod to the guy, and he's got to light the fuse. It's actually got a fuse on it.
Oh.
Pete Harburg was standing there. He was telling me what was going on up later. And he said they lit the fuse, and then the cannon went off about 15 seconds later, and the finish board had gone way past the transom.
Right.
So I'm into B-Show just going, have we gone the wrong side of the finish?
Was there a protest?
Old mates with his Zippo trying to do a few tricks.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Sorry, Jordan.
I did hear Pete ask them to put in a really long fuse just to toy with you.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to ask, how did after all this time, when you step ashore, how was Pete?
Yeah, look, that was pretty emotional for all of us, really. I mean, we've been through a fair bit. He broke his leg a couple of years ago. I just explained the situation with COVID. And look, we've had a lot of success. We've won every race now on the East Coast. We won the Southport a couple of years back against all the boats, Comanche and Oates. So, we haven't had a bad run by any means. But, I mean, just to see him there at the end was pretty cool. He was stoked. I think his son, Lockie, said it was the best day in their family's life.
Oh, that's huge.
Wow.
That is big, considering his background.
So you're going in the will?
Yeah.
No, well, I'm always teasing him. There'll be no will left by the time I'm finished.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, mate,
it's called Blackjack, boys.
Yeah, exactly. You've mentioned a few of the legends on board, but there's a few others as well. And is it true Knocker brought 8 lamb chops with him for the race?
Yeah, I missed the lamb chop episode. But normally what happens with Knock is, on the second night you're having a bit of a yacht, and it'll go something like this: "Son, you want a chop?" And you're like, "What are you talking about?" And he fills his front pockets of his wet weather pants up with the chops he's cooked on like the 24th of December, so they're in good shape.
Yeah.
and you just have a chop on the rail. That's how you
go. Yeah.
Old Aussie lollipop. Nothing better.
Exactly right. No, knocker's always good for that.
Yeah.
Hey, between him and Will, though, as far as keeping the banter, keeping the vibe on the boat high, especially in those tough periods, like it's priceless. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, he's probably one of the unsung heroes of sailing in Australia. What is it? 3 America's Cups.
Mm.
Every time you see that Rambler go around, he's there. Being heavily involved in that campaign. He's been with the Alinghi guys forever. He's sailed with us for 10 years. Will and I sail Etchells together. People like Will, Sam Newton, I've mentioned Bisho, but then Vaughan Prentice, Hutchie, guys, there's 6 or 7 of us that have been with Pete since 2008, sort of the Queensland connection. But then, Knocker and where do you want me to end? I mean, started, and it was just a pleasure to be with that group.
Mm.
I'm interested.
So
Go on.
you've run and won. I'm moving from the dock now to Customs House. Were they open for you at 3 a.m?
Certainly were.
Yeah, bravo.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I love drinking with, the other crews, but there's nothing like having the pub just to yourself.
No, that must be a really
nice
cool
way to start.
Cool,
and then
cool
the
feeling.
shirts just trickle in from there, and that's kind of by the time they come, you're directing traffic well and truly. Okay, the lollipop.
It must have been quite unique from that perspective, though, because it was a bloody long time before too many boats came in. It would have been good 24 hours before you got more than 5 or 6 boats.
Yeah, and look, there's no secret that we enjoy a celebration, and we sprinkle a little bit of arrogance on top just for some sport. So those that come to the bar are very brave soldiers. And I tell you what, it was good. They came in a few hours later. We were well primed, but no, it was just great to see the guys. Guys like Tony Mutter were straight in there and straight up in your grill, and all full of praise and no excuses. So it was really great. Whitty and all his guys were great. The Law Connect guys were excellent. So and then the smaller boats all made it there. It was just a great vibe, as it always is at Customs House.
Yeah, well,
I personally think we need a lot more of that. Yeah. Actually, proper celebrations. I mean, yachties are generally pretty good at it, but we need to do it even more emotional. Is what I want to say.
Should coaches be doing that as part of their training programs, boss?
I've started already.
The bar karate approach.
So you're into Customs at 3. Did anyone get the call up for Channel 7 Sunrise show?
Yeah, they tried that on Pete and I at the dock at 3 o'clock, and we just went,
no chance.
Tell Stefanovic we're busy. I won it with Stefanovic a few years back, so it would have been good to poke a bit at him, but nah. I mean, it was time to be with your mates right then.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. So the thing that is of interest now, though, is that the rumour, that I'm not saying who's spreading it, but the rumour is that there's a new 100 under build for Pete. Pete's building a new boat.
Well, I'm not sure there's a part on this boat that isn't new. So if we've got to do it again, Jesus.
It's like the Sydney Harbour Bridge. You just get one bit's built. The
Start
next
back at the front.
Getting built, yeah.
No, we won't be building a boat.
No.
I can guarantee you that.
No.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, we've successfully designed a boat or dragged a boat from 2005 into 2022.
Yeah.
And, I'm beating my chest a little bit, and Law Connect and Scallywag were there, and Oates and Comanche weren't. But the thing's quick, and, I think we just followed Oates' lead and how to modify the boat. And, why would we build a new one now? I think we've got a good all-round boat.
Yep.
For sure, if you built one that was a specialist light air boat, it'd be better. If Whitty got a new mast, he'd be bloody hard to beat.
Right.
So there's plenty left in the boats that are there, but a new build. It's not us doing it. I think there is one happening though.
So with Blackjack, do you think you're pretty close for a year or two to not having to do much more? You're pretty happy?
No, I think we're there now. The thing's in balance. I mean, big thing for me is just to get the boat so that you can have the right rudder angle and keep it in balance right through the wind range. And we've managed to, the front board does hide a little bit of that because you can turn the front board up to change the rudder angle or reduce the rudder angle pretty quickly, so you can hide a bit of the balance, but you've got to have the sail plan right. So I think we've managed to get there now, and just small improvements in the sails from here would be the next step, I think.
Yeah. So what, get another brand on board?
Improvements, I said. Come on, you got to make it harder than that.
No, I'm not as smart as you, Bradford. That was good. You got me a beauty. Love it. I thought I was going to win that one, and you beat me.
Not often Jordan gets slammed down, Squarky. Well done, son.
So, what about you, mate? What's next on the program? Are you doing any other sailing that outside the Blackjack program, or?
Oh well, we've got the the Etchells there. None of us could really get into it this week, and turns out with the coronavirus, we couldn't have done it anyway.
Yeah,
the Etchells there, so we'll do a bit of that. Will and Knocker and I own that.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you what's interesting is I don't know if you guys have seen this, but a lot of people are getting back into dinghy sailing. I mean, let's just go around the grounds a little bit. We've got gold in the 16. Doing a cracking job. Nathan and Paige are there.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my old friends like Aids has got a Sabre.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of this sort of trend to go back to dinghy sailing. So Cassie, my partner, and I have been kicking around the idea of maybe getting a taser and having a crack at that just to get back to grassroots. I mean, Knocker's in his fin. Nitro's got an okay dinghy.
I was going to say Nitro and an okay. The OKs have got a big resurgence.
Yeah.
There's a real trend with people just getting back to where we all started. And
not to mention Bicey the Rainbow, he's heading back there.
Well, I'm definitely looking at getting the Rainbow back in the water. Not only just one, but actually getting the whole class back.
So,
two.
If I was going to be coaching you, Squark, on the taser, it's start your hiking practice now, mate. You've got to hike like a mofo to go fast on those things.
Yeah, look, I didn't say anything about winning.
Okay.
Well, the current national titles are being held in Port Lincoln at the moment. And
are they?
Bit of a favourite place.
So nobody wins.
Squark.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Our lodge.
And
the lodge, that's right.
And
I'm good with the bikies. I'm pretty anti with bikies.
The other thing I've been doing all week is I've been writing the brief for the BK1, the Barker 81, the build kit form build boat for people to come back into the sport.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've been writing the brief up this week, so we can actually go out to all the experts and make an easy pathway back for people to get back into dinghies. And if you want to build your own, you can end up with a cool rig. So
the way things are going, we should have it on the water in at least 11 or 12 years.
Yeah.
Well, the design process is important. You've got to tick that off. But if you, I don't know, and I hope these guys don't mind me talking about it, but Glennie Ashby's got a Spider 28. Vaughnie Prentice got a Ross 780.
Yep.
Brucey Clark's got a Far 740 Sport. The baby brown with the fake clinker built.
Yeah.
So just, I'm just seeing a lot of my mates, or all of our mates, I mean, we've all grown up together, just getting back to sailing. So
that's it.
To answer your question, I think I wouldn't mind just doing a little bit of something funky like that for a laugh. Bay to Bay,
Bay to Bay. The Marley Point race.
Marley Point race has come up in conversation actually only the other day.
Yeah. We're actually looking at the Barkarati trimaran, trailable trimaran, to do one of those sorts of things, because then you can get you just need 3 mates on it and an esky full of beers and just pick a downwinder and off we go.
The toughest thing for you 3 is to find 3 mates.
I know. That's what I was going to say. It's the first I heard of this, and how are we going to find? It's the first I heard of this, and how are we going to find?
With the monohull. Yeah, go with the monohull.
Yeah. No, well, they've got the 2 VXs coming as well, so there's boats everywhere. People have got to go sailing. You're exactly right. That's what the whole reason Barkarati exists for, though, isn't it? Just to get people out in the water. And obviously,
one step back fellas. Back to the Hobart, Squark. You were an advocate, known advocate prior to the race for the double-handers to be included in the overall prize.
Yep.
That didn't happen this time, but what you've seen, what you've heard, it's literally imminent, you think?
Oh, absolutely should be. I mean, it's written in the rule in IRC. You know, the autopilot's a legal part of the rule. It's legal in every other country. It's legal for fully crewed boats to have an autopilot. So given the performance that Clogsy put in, you know, those guys just shot the lights out and deservedly, I think on IRC they would have been fourth overall in the overall.
I rang him halfway down the east coast, down the coast of Tasmania. I said, "Can you just not win this year? Because otherwise it would have been blown out and it would have been not let in." So.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, can you believe it?
No,
like that race to go upwind all the way there, two-handed. I mean, take a bow.
But strategically, from a business point of view, you see the double-handeds, like the growth in the sport from that side as well?
Yeah, look, it's pretty simple stuff. I mean, what we're lacking is people buying yachts, and people can afford to buy a 30 or 35-foot yacht with their mate. These production-style boats like BP are doing, and all, you know, there's a bunch of people doing them, are at the right price point that you can actually afford to get your mate and go and buy a boat and have a go. And we haven't seen that in sailing for the longest time because the point of entry was a custom one-off Rykel Pew 46, you know, and you're dropping well over a brick to do that. So I think that this has just created the space that people can afford to go sailing. It's popular. You don't have problems with crew. And if you do, it'd be a pretty good problem, wouldn't it? Just a fist fight, one-on-one. And you sort it out there and get on with it.
Yeah, it's actually in my manual. Please do not attempt with gingers.
Yeah. Imagine two gingers. Imagine you and slingers together. That'd be
Or
funny.
do two gingers together just equal the negative and it's just so chilled out? It's like they've been on the bongs all day.
Maybe that's it, yeah.
Two positives make a negative, yeah.
But it has added to the Hobart, the addition of that. It's definitely made it worthwhile. We see in other races like the Fastnet, you can bring out your cat or your trimaran. Is that
another question.
A step too far, do you reckon?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I think that the standards that those multi-hulls are prepared to around the world are all very different standards. And I think that, and this will probably be controversial, but monohulls, you know, we really have a strict policing of the class of the safety around the world. And I think, I mean, there's just the domestic multi-hull fleet would need to pick its game up for that to happen. I mean, I just, from experience, just little things like, you know, lifelines in this country have got to be wire, and quite a few of the cats getting around have got rope lifelines. Now, I'm not arguing whether that's right or wrong, but I'm just saying rope lifelines don't comply in this country. So, you know, like there's a big step to getting multi-hulls in there because you got to drag a lot of people up to that safety level.
Well, there goes my idea of chartering a cruising cat and doing the Hobart with a whole stack of beers on board and a couple of mates. That'd be that was the plan as soon as we went to the multis. Just do something like that.
Mate, a multi-hull on that first night with a couple of beers, you would look pretty good.
You would have ended up in Whit Sundays.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I figured we'd be off Port Stephens off the start.
Yeah, Hobart's around here somewhere.
Yeah, look, I'm not having a go at anyone. I'm just saying that, you know, the multi-hulls, domestic multi-hulls here are basically mums and dads that put them together and do a great job. And a Cat 1 race has really high safety standards. So, you know, it's one thing to let those global big sporting teams in, but to broad brush multi-hulls in there, I think there'd be a lot of improvement in safety required.
Yeah, agreed.
But we're a big fan of the double-hander.
100%. Yeah, double-hander, autopilot, for the victory, Tattersalls Cup. Mate, you win it. I'll be the first one to give you the bar karate lager at the other end.
Love it.
Speaking of safety then, do we talk the taboo subject? The celestial docking of time. Any major thoughts on that? When we covered it during the live broadcast because it was a safety issue. We knew that wouldn't go unchallenged or without any sort of penalty. And the penalty where it sat kind of, I don't know whether it felt right or not. Does it pass the pub test? Probably not. Is it hard to explain? Bloody oath. But as a safety thing, it was can't go ignored. It's kind of where we got to.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think that let's take the result out of it for a moment. Let's talk about a PLB going off and that the first port of call was the radio, and for what we just talked about, the HF and the reliability of the radio, the transmissions weren't getting heard. Well, then all the seamen involved switched to safety at sea mode. A flare got let off. The boat got alerted. The PLB got turned off before AMSA deployed the assets. For me, that's what we're all trying to do. And for me, that ticks the box right there in everyone being well trained in the situation. For sure, I feel sad for Sam. I mean, he had a great race and would have been great to see him win. Similarly, Matt and those guys did a fantastic effort in terms of seamanship, and sea safety comes first. So, I'm going to sit on the fence, but I think that just what happened on the water was pretty good all round, really.
Yeah. No, that's where we kind of ended up as well. It's bloody hard to pick one side or another, for sure. But for the efforts that were done was pretty exemplary.
Yeah, well, I mean, they knew what to do. They went for the flare and did the right thing and got their attention. And isn't that great? That's kind of a huge tick in sea safety, and geez, we've come a long way since 98, and that's the whole reason we all get trained at safety at sea, and we have protocol documents on board on how to handle these situations, and I just think it's great for the sport that we're growing up like that. I mean, I was just alluding to that with multi-hulls. I mean, safety is a huge priority in this thing.
I think also the committee really had to make a stand on it, and I know whether it was a win or a 10th place, it's got to be sort of addressed, and everyone that goes in that race needs to, should always, but will now be extra vigilant. And I think it's really, really important that every time we experience something like this, the level of safety goes up across the field. So that's a good thing that'll come out of it. So that's how I sort of see it.
Well said.
Thank you.
Bravo, Papa.
Cool. Well, so you're on to Bravo Papa at the moment, aren't you?
I was going to say.
So, Squark, what's next on the Blackjack program? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I was meant to go to Queensland today to talk to Pete. Cassie and I got family up there, so we're going to go and catch up with them and get a bit of a holiday. But we're in house arrest due to the COVID situation in this household. So,
Anastasia said no.
Well, I mean, look, it's not that. I mean, you just can't get a test to go and do what you got to do. So, I'll go and see Pete next week, and we'll hatch some sort of cunning plan. It'll be some sort of ridiculous idea. I mean, a Maxi Worlds would be great. We've only got one Rolex now, so I'll give that to him. It's probably about time I got one. So he's got a couple of kids that might need them as well, so might go and get a few Rolexes. I don't know, but look, Europe is always where we said we wanted to end this campaign.
Yep.
And just because I think a Maxi World would be a cool thing for him to do and for all of us to do. So, and I'd love to take this boat to Europe because it's really going well.
The only problem with the Maxi Worlds, it's in such a shitter location.
I know, it's horrible.
Oh, yeah, awful.
Horrible.
You've sailed there before, Squarky, haven't you?
No, I haven't been there.
No. Look, I would actually be saying to Pete, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. I've been almost everywhere except for there.
No good.
It's a bucket list thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of races open up there. If you can do that whole program, it'll be a good testament for the boat. So no, it's a smart move.
Oh, but it's a hard decision to make, because the best hundreds are here.
Yeah.
So you get the Maxi World's fantastic. Comanche will be there. That's great, and Rambler, but then they're sort of cruiser races. The rest of the boats there, but the proper race boat 100-footers are here in Sydney.
It's a tough time of year too, timing wise. If you did do it, you've got to, and you plan to do the Hobart. It's a big session to get back.
Oh, look,
It won't be coming back.
The boats are hard to sell, so the first step in the project will be to try and get it on the market, and that takes a couple of years, and then see what we can achieve, before the sale goes through. That's sort of the rough picture.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Big program. So I'm guessing the Brisbane to Gladstone's out the door then?
Oh, never say never. Okay. It's our pet event.
Yeah, that's right. The Teakle Classic.
Teakle Classic. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, the Teakle Classic. Well, one of your favourites, the great race, Adelaide Port Lincoln.
Yep.
Probably not many places to leave the boat though.
Yeah, no.
She might be a little bit tight. Yeah.
Warren had his 100 in there that year. We ended up with those problems with Bear at the bikie club.
Yeah, no, that's right. You can leave it on the mooring. That'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whack it out on the mussel farms. You'll be right out there.
Yeah.
Plenty of food. Just bring the wine out.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're all done. So the only thing I think we've got left to say is when you make your decisions, not on the Blackjack program, but what your dinghy, what you're going to get, you'll have to keep us in the loop, mate, so we can just keep posting your results, keep everyone inspired.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to doing something like that. I mean, I think it'd be a bit of fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming you've sailed with the missus before.
No.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Radio.
Maybe just rent the boat to start with.
Yeah, I actually sailed a Tazo with my missus.
How'd that go?
It's the only ever boat that my crew's jumped off.
Ex-missus, let's say.
Yeah.
She jumped off, gone. She was steering and I was crew, and I was wondering why we were tacking, and she's jumped off. She said, "I've had enough. I'm off."
Wow. BP, you're selling your program there, mate.
Tell us the rest of the story, BP, or...
Yeah.
No, there's no rest of the story, but I'm just saying that it's not easy.
Was there a precursor to this, let's say?
No, it's all good fun. No, she fell off, but it's fun.
Awesome, mate. We'll be in
Cheers,
contact. Boys. Keep us updated with everything that's going on. We'll keep an eye out. And one day this ship fight will end and we'll all be out all happy travel and sailing all together again.
Oh, won't it be great?
Looking forward to seeing you on the harbour on a white boat, mate.
Yeah. Well, we've got to get it out. I haven't moved it since the midwinters, so I think the tyres are flat on it at the back of the loft.
Maybe might be a good time to measure it. Might have sagged.
You don't know which Etchell I own, do you? 947.
Yeah, she's saggy.
Probably the most famous Etchell of all time.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Possibly the most famous.
It actually
second most
accidentally fell off the back of John Bertrand's truck.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's part of the training program for some guys. How to drop your boat. All right.
Awesome. Cheers.
All right.
Thanks,
Cheers,
mate.
guys. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.
See ya.
Another chance to chat to our old mate Squark. It's an easy conversation with Mark. He's a good man. Gave us some time. Winning skipper of the Blackjack. Great insights there for us. Big Hobart. We described it during the conversation for those that didn't see the live updates. It was a big Hobart, and we did say it was the working person's Hobart. Of course, the J.H. Illingworth Trophy, which is the line-honour winner, going to Blackjack. The win on handicap, the Tattersalls Cup, going to Ichiban. In controversial circumstances. I don't know if I should say that. That's probably... Is that harsh?
No, it's just one of the ways that the dice is right. People in the game understand it. People who have no idea about yachting do not have a clue and how something like this could happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of our sport's greatest achievements to make something pretty simple quite complicated.
Yeah,
good way of putting it.
Yeah, that's well said. And of course, the double-handed, the inaugural, the forever quiz question that whenever sailing quiz comes up, who was the inaugural winner of the double-handed Sydney Hobart? It's going to be the Disco Trooper Contender Sailcloth, which is an easy name to remember. So Jules Hall and Jan Scholten, or Clogs, as he's affectionately known, taking that one out in convincing fashion. There was never any doubt that one. And BP, you proved to be, throughout our live updates, the savant, the maestro, the man with the golden touch. You predicted everything that was going to happen without fail, never made a mistake on anything. Have you travelled back in time?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Well, I am. I've got to tell you that I am disappointed with that result that you just mentioned, because my trifecta was taken away from me. So that's really all it's about for me.
Oh, with the celestial.
That's my disappointment.
Ichiban thing. Yeah. No,
because that's something that I would never have been able to pick.
Yeah.
But I did. I was quite happy with my efforts, and I have spoken to the betting agency that you put in touch with, and it. I think it's all going to go ahead. I didn't believe it at first.
I tried to keep it secret from you, BP. How did you find them? So what, for those who haven't been following, so those who are overseas or something aren't quite sure what went on, Celestial did win on rating into Hobart, but one of their cruise PLBs went off. AMSA, the Marine Safety Authority in Australia, couldn't get in touch with them. They couldn't be contacted on Channel 16. So there's obviously in the sailing instructions you must monitor Channel 16 at all times. It required one of the other boats, or a few of the other boats actually put in an effort, but Ichiban had to set off a couple of flares, and then they reached out to Ichiban to see what was going on, and there was a protest from Ichiban for time correction, and there was a protest from the race committee for that, and so Celestial lost. Ichiban was given 3 minutes, and Celestial was penalised 40 minutes, which left them second overall. Very disappointing for Sam, the owner of Celestial. It would have been his first win, and I'd say it was very tense going up. We were all watching it live, going up the Derwent there to the finish, and we were counting the seconds as we went into that finish because we knew how close it was. So that was probably the major talking point of the event. Not trying to take anything away from the fabulous team on Ichiban who now won the Hobart.
And this is a huge point. The fact of the matter is that you still have this whole thing, because it's first and second is the draw card, right?
Yep.
Now let's just look at it. If you are in a situation, of a protest with first and second, then it goes your way. You first of all have to be in second, right? So that's the point. The point is that it was
got to be in it to win it.
You got to be in it to win it, right?
Yep.
And so I'm not. And you're right, Jordan. And I think the whole sailing world should not take anything away from either team for the situation. It's just a part of it, and it's how it is. And they were close. It was minutes in it, and on a race of that size and of that difficulty to be sailing to that level, both of those boats, it's happened, and it's unfortunate that it happened the way it happened, but it has happened, and both those boats were there.
Yep. And for the listeners who haven't been in touch, it was a very, very tough race. Lots and lots and lots and lots of retirements, broken boats, broken bodies, straight into the wind most of the time. For those of you who missed it, you're probably grateful you didn't do it. So, yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Club events. Events.
A bit lost with this one, so looking forward to hear what you've got to say about this.
Well, Michael Doherty.
What's not going on? That's more the question.
Well, I guess
I'll tell you what's not going on this year, and that's the Rainbow Nationals, which I'm a bit disappointed about. But carry on with what is going on, Jordan.
Yeah, what is going on.
Well, we'll come back to all the nationals that are going on. So club events is just to try and provoke some of the smaller clubs and a bit of fun. So the Portland Yacht Club is hosting a regatta for all classes, off the beach classes and keel boats, February 5 and 6 in conjunction with the Fireball Nationals. So that's definitely one that you might want to have a little bit of a listen out for or try and track down.
Where was that again?
Portland Yacht Club. Yeah. So Victoria.
Great yacht club for any of those guys that have been down there. I've had a chance to have a few quiet beverages with young Michael himself, and he's very, very passionate about that club. So if you are in the area, Portland Yacht Club, absolutely.
And I'll get that carton of beer to you at some stage, Mike. So.
Oh, yeah.
And we're working on it.
The other one that's going on is the combined clubs in Hobart are doing a combined club Hillcrest Twilight fundraiser. All fees to be donated to Hillcrest Community Public Fund for the families. and friends who lost loved ones. The loss of 6 Tasmanian lives on the 16th of December is a tragedy. So they're trying to organise a little bit of a race, Friday the 14th of January, so not far away, at the Combined Club's Hillcrest Twilight Race. So jump on line and look up that one and just go in, and that'll be a good one to do just for the conscience, you know. So I just thought we'd better give that one a bit of a message.
Yeah, and I'm sure...
Is that kind of like going to church, Jordan?
I wouldn't know.
Not this one, no. But I'm sure online also there might be room to donate for such a cause. Yeah. I mean, absolute tragedy in December. What happened there? But so yeah, check it out. If you're not from the area, if you are, get down there.
Cool. The Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week. Boys, we've had a nomination come in, and it probably is the perfect Listener of the Week nomination. It's I think you'll be hard-pressed to beat this one.
I'm listening intently, Jordan.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Ears are to the ground.
So it's another Tasmanian, Rob Cumin. He sent us a note.
Again?
Yeah, he's busy. He's a busy man. He's keen. But he had a really good point. So more on communications and regulations. So he was doing the Hobart. We radioed in at Bass Strait to Young Endeavour on HF. We could not hear them, not sure that they could receive us.
We could hear them. We could hear them, it says.
Oh, sorry, we could hear them, not sure that they could receive us.
Yep.
An hour later, we received a satellite phone text to call Race Control, who advised that we haven't radioed in, and at that stage, they were unaware of any communication issues and had radioed in POB, no issues. What? That makes no sense to me. Does it?
No, people on board.
People on board.
Yeah.
So at that stage, they were unaware of any comms issues and had radioed in POB, persons on board.
Yeah,
so
and we'll
no
continue.
Go on.
Told all is okay and to continue. An hour after that, told we were going to be disqualified or to retire. You can imagine we took apart the radio with an electrician on board looking for a fault. Send a message to the race control. Can we continue with satellite comms as advised? No, all skids must be made on HF. So we retired. Now, HF is a casing technology as old as Land Rovers. Why still drive them or use HF when there's more reliable and better tech available? Now, that...
Actually, he puts a good argument across.
Yes.
Unfortunately... on deaf ears, I'm afraid.
His point, one, he had a really good valid point, so this is a great one. So it's going to be very hard to beat. He had a great one. We're using really old technology, HF radios, and for the amount of effort and time and money that people spend to enter this race, to be booted because of, they've called in on HF. There's a lot of problems with HF, as was just pointed out with Squark, where Hutzpah was having to do all the relay work, and then actually to be able to put the boot into Land Rovers as part of this as well. Like it's brilliant. There's no one. That's the Listener of the Week for sure.
All right, gents.
Have you got an argument?
As I'm the holder of the merchandise pack that the Listener of the Week may or may not get, Rob, you're up shit creek, my friend, because you've been absolutely trumped. One, you put the boot into Land Rover, so you're off the list anyway, and I would have just made this other one up anyway. But we have possibly listener of the podcast.
Oh,
no.
So, Jordan, you know your throwaway saying, if you don't like it, send money.
Yeah.
Well, you need to add another bit.
Yeah.
If you do like it, send beer. So, get this. I turn up, get back from Sydney. Our friend, Sean Wagner from Plankona Brewing in the mighty United States of Australia, USA.
Of America.
He has, Australia, yeah, sorry. My mistake. He has sent a care package down of some of his favourite picks. So I think there's 9 beers in total. There's a couple of little koozies, as they call them, a couple of nice little schooner glasses, a few stickers, and 3 Stroopwafel beers, specifically brewed for you, one Jordan Spencer. So here's Rob taking the piss out of one person in the team. Here's Sean absolutely blowing smoke up your ass to get your vote as well. He knows exactly what he's doing. Undoubtedly, he's one listener of the podcast so far. So the new saying as it goes, if you don't like it, send money. If you do, send beer.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
What a legend. Now, I even a few orders came in over the weekend, over the Christmas break, and I was at the post office today, and shipping is getting bloody expensive. So for those that have ordered, you're getting a good deal. So I'd hate to think what poor Sean has paid for shipping down basically, a 5 or 6 kilo package of beer from United States of America to little old Henley Beach in South Australia. So, Sean, 100% merchandise pack coming your way.
100%.
Oh, lovely. No. 100%.
Yeah, it may or may not. In this instance, may definitely be 100% getting one. Yeah.
Oh, that's what you do. So if you do send beer, you get something, right?
Wow.
I'm saving it for. We'll save the beers for the Adelaide Port Lincoln Yacht Race. Hopefully, we're all going to be here, and we can do some sort of a live Facebook thing with it. We're hoping to do a live podcast pre-Lincoln race with a couple of the legends that will be part of the race. So if that's the case, some Plankona Brewing lagers, especially the Stroopwafel beer, will be here especially for you.
Super looking forward to the Stroopwafel.
I've got to say, I hope I like it because I love a Stroopwafel.
Yeah, love a Stroopwafel.
Hey lads, I want to touch base on the note we put up last week about us missing a week. We did talk about this off air, and I thought it was worthy to bring up. There was some responses on our Facebook page, and it is another regular, Mark Disney, who I've known for a long, long time. I want to read this out quickly because it's very funny, so just to stand by. We put a notice up saying we were missing last Sunday because the stars didn't align, and we ended up having to miss the week. So no worries. So Mark comes back onto our Facebook and he says, "I read this, and for the slightest moment, the world slowed a little. Is this the beginning of the end? Like the pause before the end that we saw before One Direction or Take That?" There we go. But obviously,
he's obviously a well-informed gentleman.
But obviously without the look, styling, vocals, or musical talent. Now, I didn't know what to expect with that one, but I will move on with there. Okay, so I agree that at BK might have the moves, but only in the bar. This has become a part of my weekly routine, and the Hobart was a treat, thank you. So the Sunday morning UK time of radio silence was a real blow. And later announcement of AP for a day was soothed by a cracking open A Stella. But this, I'm thinking, protesting for a redress, half a slab of bar karate piss for my wasted hours of keeping to check on the forums for an update. Should do it. So he's putting in a protest for a redress because he's been wasting time trying to find out when the next show is on. So there you go.
Well, what I can say, Mark, is you're welcome for us wasting all that time between Christmas and New Year, crapping on about some race called the Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race.
That's it. No, but it's a good thing to know that these people have become accustomed to the Sunday mornings if you're in Europe, and it's great to know that so many people are enjoying the show. That's probably the outcome of that. Mark Disney, I'm not going to say it on air, but get. He's a good man. He's a good man.
Go.
Ole, ole. It's hot time with Bice.
Rightio, gents. This could either be a long one or a short one.
May or may not be.
First of all, how many national championships have either currently still running or have taken place within the last couple of weeks?
Oh, that's a huge question.
No clue.
No clue.
So many.
Me neither. I have absolutely no clue.
Perfect.
Basically, I've tried for quite some time to basically research all the different classes, when they're racing, what they're doing, who's winning, all those sorts of things. There's no common area. I think there's an opening here. Well, just to go to one common place, you get the odd bit of information here, the odd bit of information there, but there's not one place, or is there? Have you come across anything?
There used to be Australian Sailing Magazine, which was the iconic magazine in Australia for many years. It used to actually publish, probably in March or something, it would have a list of all the nationals and all the results and little stories from each one. It must have been a monumental undertaking. And, you give a little update on what happened and who won and how it all played out. But, yeah, no clue how to find out anymore. I think you're right. Like, that would be just a centralised calendar so we can know. And it's the same for all the other countries, It's too hard to...
watch this space. We're working on it.
I'm not doing it.
No, fuck that. We're not working on it. Jesus, that's way too hard.
No, we're not working on it.
There's a few different systems up there with Top Yacht and all those sorts of things, but to actually have all this information in one spot. So you see the odd little tidbit on Facebook about the Sharpies. So then you go to the Sharpie website. Then we get the information through the media side with the 16s. So then we get the link in to see what's happening at the 16s and those sorts of things. But it's she's definitely more than 3 clicks to find all this stuff. So that leads me, my hot topic is that is the one hot topic of this week, and that needs to be addressed. Not sure how or who or what body, but I think that is something that we lack in our area. And we want to give all the updates, and we'll give as much as we can. We've got a couple of little ones that we've got here, which I might as well start with the Sharpies, shall I?
Okay.
Second best off the beach class. I'm getting around.
Wow. Go on.
32 boats held in Canberra. Typical, the weather was perfect beforehand and afterwards, and it's never like this during type thing. Only, I wouldn't say only, but 32 boats, tough times. You'd generally like to see 50 on the line. ACT took it out, SA second, ACT third. But what was interesting, in the top 10, it was either ACT, SA, Tas, quite a mix of either 2 or 3 from each state. So there was definitely no dominance as such, which I found interesting. Winner was Smoke from the ACT. Second was our mate, Jace Heritage from Adelaide Sailing Club. Third, Banging the Sheets from ACT. But again, a regatta which, it's never normally like this.
No, I haven't seen like that before, did we?
It's always light winds in the ACT.
Well, I did ask some of the boys, have you seen Jordan Spencer's photo up in the bar?
No.
Harry Fisher said no, but I saw it in the toilet.
Yeah.
I ripped it off the wall and pissed on him.
Harsh. Cool. Okay. Congratulations.
What have you been following in the Nationals, boys, going on? I know you've been part of one yourself, BP.
Do we call it a Nationals?
No, not really, because
the Clayton's Nationals. The Clayton's Nationals.
The Nationals you have when you're not having your Nationals.
Well, I mean, I guess we could call it. We could talk about it. The David Forbes Trophy was held this week. Excuse me. Amidst all of the COVID, as I cough my guts up. No, amidst all the COVID crisis that's going on in Sydney right now, we managed to get it away. We lost a couple due to COVID during the week, but it's a group of the M11 guys got together and just wanted to go sailing. Did it, opened the invitation up, got a handful of different boats in there. I think 14 boats showed up. Great regatta. Congratulations goes out to Jean-Claude and her team, Sevi Jarvin and Sammy Newton and Kate, I don't know the last name of. But they got first, second GT from Melbourne. So it was, pretty solid event. Third was Martin Hill. So it was good. But we had a great time. Just great to go sailing, to be honest.
Good. So never like this, the weather?
No, actually, it's a very good point. I have never seen it like that. 8 knots from the east, and it would shift to the northeast and then southeast, but there was a 2.1 metre tide running out.
Oh, there you go.
Was hard.
Glorious.
Very hard.
And what's been high on your list, Jordan?
I've been, the 16 skiffs. Holy crap.
This
fleet
almost deserves its own episode, this one.
It's just like, how many gold medals are just floating around? Oh, like they just all just decided to jump into the 16s for this race. They're all borrowing boats, and I'll just pull some names. So Nathan Wilmot, gold medalist. Malcolm Page, multiple gold medalist. You got Lee Napton, who's very famous in the skiff world. Dave Gilmore, who's been a guest on the show. Obviously, fairly named. Nathan Outridge, sailing with Tom Slingsby.
Barnabas.
Sailing with Jensen.
Who's that? Fluid Building. Nathan Outridge, Tom Slingsby, Ian Jensen, or Goobs, as he's known.
Yeah. All gold medalists.
How on earth would they get across? They'd just be linking up gold medals all over the joint.
Banging gold medals as they tack.
I think Tommy Burton was sailing. I think he's injured himself from what I heard. I see Benny Brunninger's there, so obviously Gary's son there, very famous name. Joel Castle there, obviously he'd be one of the best sailors in the fleet because he's a sort of mid-fleet 505 sailor.
Well, the other 505 sailor there is Quirky, right?
No, different Michael Quirk. Trap for young players.
My mistake.
Yeah. No. Look, basically they're sailing on Lake Macquarie, which is the breeding ground. You'd have to say, Scotty Babbage is in there. I'm just going through.
Scotty Babbage is there.
You'd have to go through, like on Lake Macquarie, so many talented sailors have come off there. I can see Tom Kunich there. I used to coach him. Anyway, so many talented sailors come off that stretch of water. It is sailing paradise. Sailing 16s, they don't have wings on them. They're sort of two on trapeze. The skipper sits in on them. But yeah, they smoke along.
So 45 boats. I must admit their names are pretty shit house because they're all. But there's a reason for that because they all look basically relatively sponsored in one form or another.
That's correct. Yeah. You actually can make money sailing 16s. I remember I did the guy that won the 16s 3 times in a row. He came and did a 5.0 nationals because we're sailing out of the 16-foot skiff, Manly 16-foot skiff club, and the rumour is, so he didn't confirm it. I didn't ask him. His club told him that if he'd win the 3rd nationals in a row, they were going to give him $50,000.
Wow.
Nice.
I know blokes that have got houses out of it. There's
really,
very famous sailors that have done very, very well out of sailing the 16s because, as Bicey just said, they're pokey castles. They make plenty of money. I joined this club, Belmont 16 Club, when I was living in Newcastle. I paid, I think it was like $5 for 10 years or something to become a member.
The rest was subsidised by the aristocrat family.
Yes. But anyway, that took my interest. So I was pretty keen to see that. The other one I've jumped onto was obviously the Brighton Seacliff, the 420s, and then the 470s racing. So I found this one quite interesting because here we go. In the 420s, you've got Harry Higgins, you've got Austin Higgins, you've got Darcy Higgins, you've got Taz Sanderson, you've got Finn Sanderson. In the 470s, you've got Alex Higgins, like Angus Higgins. There's a bit of inbreeding going on in South Australia.
What are you getting to here?
Thank Christ for the Higginsons.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's got to be it's the interesting thing, genuine interesting thing is the 470 regatta is predominant. It's pretty much male female split. So the whole 470 fleet's gone to the male female split, I think, except one boat, and yeah, most of them are with the female as skipper. A few with the female as crew, and that was where my interest was lying. It's pretty rough and rugged conditions, so I've just been watching that a little bit. Heaps of 420s out, so that's good. I know the 29ers are on. There's boats, there's regattas going on everywhere. And if we're not mentioning you, sorry, but we don't actually know where to go. If you send us the information. Cheers at Barker 80. We'll talk all about it.
Send all that info in so we can give a bit of a wrap up on that and see if we can find any sort of. We'll put it through the system, see if there's any. Put the algorithm to work, and see if we can find any commonalities.
Here we go.
Or is it just people who just like going sailing for fun? Believe it or not.
It's a resurgence. It's a resurgence. There's things people are doing. We're going back to the old ways. We've been trapped at home, and people are bringing out old boats and doing all sorts of stuff. And I think it's good. I think it's what we've been pushing for with Barkarati, just to get people back out on the water and have a laugh, mate. That's what sailing should be. Everything else is secondary. Have a laugh. And my favourite thing is actually meeting the mid-fleet or, back fleet people who just keep coming out every week and, they've got passion. They've got some interesting ideas. It's always worth your time to have a bit of a chat just to see what systems they're using and ideas. Mate, sailing's good. The best thing about our sport is we all just hang out afterwards and have a laugh. It's what we all live for. And, she's good. So, that sounded a bit preachy. I hope not. But
speaking of preachy, I've got something here on the list that you deserve to be preachy about.
What's that?
Yeah, 12 days of the 505s.
Oh.
Is it still going on?
No, it's done. So, but you can vote. So
you can still vote. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go to the International 505 website, and they've got 12 photos, and you vote for which one you want to be on the cover of the new 505 book that's coming out in August. I don't know much about the 505 fleet, just caught on a little bit, but no, it's obviously the most beautiful boat out there sailing on the water, and 12 photos that you can pick through. They're the only problem I noticed with the 12 photos, I don't know if you guys have picked up. Is there anything you noticed about the 12 photos?
There's one that doesn't feature your good self, Jordan Spencer, with the big weight jacket big head going on. Sorry.
There's not one featuring me. No, that's right. I was devastated. But yeah, some great photos.
Revote.
Revote.
Redraw.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. If we put up one, we just put up one. And that ended up. Actually, I've got one that would be really nice on the cover.
The one you sent from the Adelaide Sailing Club.
No, not that one.
The one you sent us the other day was good. You dancing? Hey, whack that one up. That'll be a laugh. That would make everyone absolutely laugh.
I got a mate of mine was sending through. I don't know whether he just found old photos, but the guy I used to share a house with. We're best mates for so long. The Batman. And he just sent some photos through, and there was one there where we're just sitting on the beach. It looked like a proper posed band photo shoot, like something you did when you had your earring and your blonde tips, BP.
Yeah.
But no, it was just three mates sitting on the beach. But anyway, that was good.
Very
cool.
Good.
What else?
Rightio. Just a quick mention. I've updated all the inventories and everything with all the current merchandise that we have. So if there is something that you do wish to grab, check it out, barkarati.com.
Jeez, people have reacted strongly to those. The ones with the, let's call it 70s retro space type writing, the material on those shirts, people buying those.
Sensational.
It is bizarre, isn't it? It was not the most comfortable material I've ever worn in my life. I can't wear my shirt because my wife wears it to bed all the time.
Always trying to get it back in your shirt, eh? Interesting.
Just an excuse to get in your shirt again, is it, mate?
Hey, boys, I've got to say, good to have Squark on first set.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
2022. We'll be coming up to 3 years in about 5 months' time. So let's keep pushing it. Everyone who's listening, keep pushing us as well if you can, and keep sending stuff in. We just love the chit-chat, love the banter, and enjoy the Barkarati.
Enjoy the weekly pilgrimage.
Yeah, obviously we're a little Aussie-centric at the moment because everything's happening down under, but more than welcome to send us anything from anywhere around the world.
I think it's about time we heard from our ice sailors. That must be going on.
Oh yeah, good one, BP.
Yeah, let's get it. So to all you ice sailors out there, send us through what's going on.
We did actually get a whole bunch of information to follow up on. So we'll do that. That's a good one, BP.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right, see you, lads.
See ya.
See ya, boys. All right.